CJ Flyer back with Fire, another YouTube video. So this is sort of old news, but we need to talk about it, okay? A couple days ago, it was announced that the Memphis Grizzlies are waiving Derrick Rose. And on top of that, it's been reported that he's not receiving any of his salary that he was going to be paid for this upcoming season. So no hit against the salary cap limit for the Memphis Grizzlies. That being said, it just begs the question, is this it for Derrick Rose? Is he going off quietly into the night? Is he retiring? Is this it? There's been no noise in the past couple days as far as I've seen in regards to what his next move is going to be. Is he going to sign with another NBA team for a veteran minimum contract? Is he going to go overseas? Is he done playing altogether? No one really knows. There hasn't been a lot of discussion about it, really. NBA Media Days has just started up, and no one's talking about this, at least as far as I can tell. So I'm going to talk about it because it's interesting to me, and I'm curious to know what's going to happen. So, of course, Derrick Rose, for anyone that doesn't know, youngest MVP in league history, and, had that unfortunate injury in 2012, I believe, or was it 2011, 2012? He had the unfortunate injury in the 2011-2012 season, which, he didn't have quite the same explosiveness ever again, which is, part of his game heavily relied on that explosiveness to the rim. He was the explosive, dunker in the NBA, I would say more so than Westbrook was at the, in that time frame. Anyways, not to make comparisons at this point. Let's stick with Derrick Rose here. So since then, hadn't been quite the same player. He did have that crazy game winner against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2015 playoffs, which, would put the Bulls up 2-1 in that series in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Of course, we all know the Cavs did end up going to the finals that year, but but for just anyone that needs a reminder, this is the game winner he hit where he had that stone cold look in his eyes after he made the shot and all his teammates picking him up. So one of his greatest moments in his career. He's had some good moments since then. He was on the Bulls again through 2016. And then he kind of became an NBA journeyman at that point. Played for the Knicks, the Cavs, the Timberwolves, the Pistons, and then most recently, he spent a year on the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, of course, a team that was battling with the Ja Morant suspension and also tons and tons of injuries to rotation players and starters on the team, which led to them having a not-so-great record in a very competitive Western Conference. Only a year removed from them being a top 2 seed? Yeah, top 2 seed in the West. So, here we are now. Derrick Rose, buyout, he's being waived by the Memphis Grizzlies. And that's what's next? What's next for Derrick Rose? So, one thing we need to know, because I think, some people assume, okay, he's retiring at this point. But if we look here, again, just a reminder, Derrick Rose had signed a contract with Adidas back in 2011 for 14 years. And that means he's still got 1 year left on that contract ending in September of 2025. Now, I don't know that this means he has to I don't think it means that he has to play any games or be an active player. It just means he's got that contract with Adidas through next year. But you would think that he would continue to play if he's, not retiring yet. It says here some even think his Adidas contract's the only reason Rose hasn't considered retiring yet. There is hold up, I misspoke. There is a clause in his contract stated that if Rose filed for retirement, the rest of his deal will be nulled. Okay, so if he wants the remaining portion of his contract that's left, he'll play 1 more year. So it leads us to believe that perhaps something that may happen, despite potentially not having the best relationship with the front office anymore, is that he returned to the Chicago Bulls on a veteran minimum deal. The Bulls don't really have much to play for at this point. I'm sorry, Bulls fans. just keeping it real with you. We got the Celtics, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Pacers, the Magic, the Cavs, in no particular order. All, Eastern Conference Finals contenders, if you will. We have other teams as well that are in the mix that I would argue are much more competitive than the Bulls at this point. They've had the unfortunate situation with Lonzo Ball's injury. They no longer have DeRozan. Zach LaVine hasn't been quite the same player. There's a lot going on there with the Bulls. Obviously good for them and their draft pick, and hopefully that all goes well this upcoming season and as far as Matt Buzelis' progression. But that's it for the Bulls. I mean, they're not going to be competitive this year, and the Bulls front office and ownership are always looking for ways to get fans into the seats, and what not a better way to do that than sign Derrick Rose to a farewell tour contract, get him on there for his last year of his deal with Adidas, and have him play one more season. Goodbye, Derrick Rose. I think that would be a nice tribute, and I think the Bulls fans would appreciate that too, because I think Bulls fans have probably already accepted the fact that this team is not going to be doing a whole lot this season anyways. So that's my theory is what was probably going to happen. But again, we have no idea, of course, right? We really just don't know what is Derrick Rose's mindset. Perhaps, again, we look at the stats from the past few years. He has not played more than 27 games a season since, the 2020-2021 season. It's been 3 to 4 years since he's broken the 27 game season mark, which that's not great. I don't think I need to tell you that. That's not great. That's only a little bit more than a quarter of the games in the season, and he's not even playing that many minutes per game in those games. So, and again, before anyone comments like, oh, well, but he started some games last year, this is a Grizzlies team that I think had nearly half their players injured at one point, if not more. It was a disaster for them. So they had no choice but to start Derrick Rose. Okay, this is not a situation where Derrick Rose is leading the team to victories. Let's put him in there, give us a chance to make. No. They were not making the playoffs. This was a situation where they were running out of players on their roster. So he's not a starter quality player anymore. As far as being a piece on a championship contender, that's also some discussion that I've seen around him. Again, you just look at the minutes he's played per game. You look at some of the shooting stats here. There's plenty of other options available, and I'm sure the buyout market will provide even more options, come springtime in 2025 for NBA teams to find pieces for a championship contending team. I don't see Derrick, Derrick Rose, he could be signed on as like a bench warmer, if you will. Maybe he's like the 13th man on the roster, 14th, 15th man, however deep it goes these days. Maybe he's signed on as that type of a player, but realistically, championship contending teams are not going to be looking at him as like a rotation piece. It's more just like fill out the bench and be a veteran presence on the roster. So, not saying it couldn't happen. I just think the whole theory that he's going to sign a vet min with the Bulls is much more likely. And I also would be very surprised if he just chose to retire at this point, because again, 1 year left on the Adidas deal. You're only 1 year away. Why not just play out the last year? And it's not like teams are not going to be asking that much of you anyways. He is 35 years old, so he is at that stage of his career where most professional basketball players are looking to retire. But yeah, I think one more season is in the books for Derrick Rose. I think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to retire. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and click the video on your screen now for some more NBA discussion videos.